Welcome to the Green ICT Welfare Technology webinar. My name is Oliver and I will be your host for today. In today's webinar, several Estonian welfare technology companies will share their experience, solutions, and ideas for cooperation with Norwegian partners. We'll also introduce you to the opportunities for getting funding for your welfare technology through the Norwegian Grants in Estonia. Last but not least, we have made it possible to network with the participants from Norway and Estonia at this event. I believe everyone will get some new ideas and useful connections. And before we start with our program, let's take a quick look at the workshop platform where our live stream is happening. You can see the agenda on the right side of your screen. During the live stream, you can chat with other participants and ask questions from the speakers under the chat button marked in green. You can update your profile info under the button Profile marked in red. You can create one-on-one meetings or start chatting with all the people who have entered the platform under the participants. To start a chat, choose Send a Message from the person's profile marked in red. In case you get a booking for a one-on-one meeting, a red notification will appear on the Conversations button in the lower menu bar where you can accept it. All booked meetings are also saved and will be visible under the Conversations button. If you see a notification of a meeting, move to the Conversations button and press Chat. Then activate the chat by pressing Accept from the upper left corner of the view. If you have any technical issues, please write to the workshop contact person and you can find the number and email at the end of the agenda. But now, let's start with our program, and I'm happy to open the first panel discussion and look a little bit more into why Norway Grants supports Estonian health tech projects and what's in it for Estonia. Now, I'm happy to introduce the other panelists sitting here with me today. On my left, we have Anari Lilleoja, the Green ICT Program Manager from Enterprise Estonia. Then we have Tanel Thompson, Head of Cross-Border Cooperation Area of Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications. And last but not least, we have Magnar Ödelein, Director of EEA and Norway Grants and Innovation Norway. Welcome, everyone. So Magnar, I would like to start off with you. What is the Norway Grants all about and whom is it targeted to?
Yeah, the program now under implementation in Estonia is already the second edition of the business program in Estonia. It started already in the previous program period, 2009-2014. And of course, the business sector is only one of many sectors with programs financed by Norway Grants, because Norway Grants can kind of be described as the same contribution from the donor states, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, the EEA agreement members, as then the member states will contribute under the structural funds. So it's kind of the same type of money and a little bit the same type of programs as well. And as I said, this is the second edition because Estonia was a part of the business cooperation under Norway Grants already from the beginning, because the previous period was the first period with specific business programs. So already from the beginning, business programs were then implemented in Estonia. And in the first edition of the program, it was even more focused only on the green. So it has then been broadened a little bit in this program period to also include welfare technology. And that is, of course, the main topic today.
You mentioned the beginning. So could you please tell us a little bit about the history of Norway Grants programs in Estonia?
Yeah, as I said, this is the second edition, and the business cooperation started then in the period officially named 2009-2014. Some of us were involved already from the beginning of that cooperation, and it has implemented a lot of good projects in Estonia. Also many with cooperation with Norwegian entities, companies, research institutes, and so on. So we have now worked with business programs in Estonia for about 10 years. So it has been a long-lasting and good cooperation.
Okay, thank you, Magnar. Tanel, a question to you. From the government side and perspective, why is the Green ICT program important for us?
Of course, on government level, we try to do all that the life in Estonia in general would be better. And of course, it depends on the tax income, that depends on the possibilities in business sector, how capable are our companies, what kind of value they produce. So this way, I think that such cooperation like Norwegian-Estonian cooperation is very helpful, because the main target in this business program, especially on small and medium-sized enterprises, so we are about 80% of Estonian companies, so they are SMEs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and also again from the government perspective, what do you think, what do we want, or what do we look forward to the program achieving? What do we look forward in the end goal for this program?
Okay, one important point that I also already mentioned was well-being of these companies, what kind of value they produce, and of course we have to change the mindset of companies to increase their competitiveness. We all have to go greener. Mm-hmm. We have to take care of resource efficiency, find new innovative solutions to tackle common problems with our environment.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. And Anari, question to you. What is the Green ICT program itself, and who will benefit from it the most?
Yeah, Green ICT program is one of many programs under the Norway Grants in Estonia. It's a quite complex and mixed composition of different activities. I think the most important one for the companies it's a grant itself. Mm-hmm. So the grant, we strongly believe that the grant helps Estonian companies to tackle the challenges when it comes to the green and digital transformation and also innovation. So we try to help them to develop new technologies, for instance, product development, but not only. Mm-hmm. It's also about uptake of new technologies, so that Estonian companies have the opportunity to produce more efficiently and also to develop our future solutions that we all need. What's a key word about the Green ICT program is collaboration, cooperation. So cooperation is something that Enterprise Estonia, the ministry, and also Magnar, Innovation Norway, we have been doing over these years. It's cooperation for the companies in sense of gathering the competence, experience from Estonia and Norway. It's not a grant for conquering the Norwegian market. It's actually gathering the Norwegian experience to the developments, to the sustainable way of doing business. So it's all about cooperation, and to support all of that, Enterprise Estonia, together with Innovation Norway, we also provide assistance, do a lot of matchmaking, webinars like this today, and we also invite other companies to collaborate with companies in Estonia and in Norway.
Mm-hmm. So the partnerships between Estonia and Norway are very important for this program.
Yes, and it's also a unique way of developing stuff, because Norway is way ahead of Estonia when it comes to green technologies, when it comes to circular economy. And I think Estonians have much to learn from this competence, and also Estonia known for its ICT. So it's an opportunity to bring together ICT, technology, and expertise. So it's a very unique set of activities under this program.
Good to hear. On that note, I'd like to jump back to Magnar. Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that you asked what we want to achieve, and I think we can sum up that by saying that we want to achieve is to strengthen Estonian companies by helping them to implement good projects. And it's even better if that is then done in cooperation with the Norwegian companies, because then we will have a win-win between Estonian companies and Norwegian companies' research institutes.
Absolutely.
What kind of win-wins are we looking for? So let's say, why is it important to get these cooperations?
Well, the win-win would be, for instance, if then an Estonian company and a Norwegian company go together and develop some new technology or a new service, and then in many cases they will then share the results from this, and they will build a lasting, long-term cooperation based on this joint development of something that will then develop the business of both the Estonian and the Norwegian company. And we have examples of that, even when they have established joint ventures after the implementation of the project, and they are working together long term.
Tanel, do you have anything to add to that? Why do we see this as an important thing? Why do we need this cooperation with the Norwegian and Estonian partners?
I think that any cooperation, especially when these companies are from different countries, with different backgrounds, from different societies. So we have this learning opportunity. So I think Estonian and Norwegian companies, during this cooperation, we can learn from each other a lot. So, and if they come up with some new innovative solution or product, we can implement it first in Estonia and in Norway. And then, if it's successful, then conquer other markets.
I have a question for all of you. What do you think is the right time for the companies to actually apply for the program? Is there a specific stage they need to be at with their developments, with their team, their marketing or sales? When is the right time?
That's a good question. I don't think this program is the right one for the very new company, in the sense of managing companies' resources, for example, or having a good team. These are, I think, the presumption for applying. It's a lot of paperwork. Besides having good partners and good team and good idea, of course, but it's actually also a skill to involve as much competence as possible first. Financing part is also important. So we only support sustainable projects in that sense, because whether it's the investors on board, whether it's the resources company has gained from other business areas, so this is important. But competence is the first. Plus, in addition, I think it's important to look for partners first. So you cannot start looking for allies in that sense during the projects. So I think project preparations take time. Do you agree? Yeah.
I think this is a good opportunity for any existing company who maybe some of them already have some products, but they come up with the idea to develop some new feature to this product. Or you just have idea for some new solution or product, you can also apply to this program.
Yeah, and we should also remember that we are implementing a business development program. It's not a research program, which means that the projects to be financed, they have to be at a certain level of maturity because it's close to market projects. It's not basic research, because we have also implemented a research program in Estonia. So it's important to remember that is business development.
That's a very important point, I think, for the companies and startups listening in today, that this is a business development support program. What would you say, what are the main things the startups, the companies should consider, what support they can get from the program itself? What does this business development support in itself entail? What are the other different elements in it? Magnar, maybe you can continue.
Yeah, that would be to move then ideas and perhaps then research they have already done to the market. Then the last steps to then put a product or a service on the market in order then to create then value for the company. So to bring the ideas, the last few steps perhaps to the market is the important part of the business development thing.
Yeah, and in addition, maybe especially for the welfare technology projects, it's important to already actually know who your end customer is. So this is also an important part, because in welfare technology projects, we are looking for such initiatives that already involve their potential users for the future. Yeah. So the idea has to be quite comprehensive already, and have to know your market and what you want to do in the future. Yeah.
Just a side note for the audience as well. Feel free to ask questions in the chat in the workshop platform to ask from the panelists. But continuing from there, now we understand what kind of support they could get from the program itself. Let's maybe dive a little bit deeper of what kind of companies you're actually looking for. Let's describe a perfect company applying to the program. Maybe Anna, you can start with that.
Wow. Who are the perfect applicants or perfect companies? Again, as Magnar indicated, I think mature enough to have already services or products in place, but ready for new challenges in order to tackle problems from the end customers, for example, or when we speak about green industry innovation projects, then the ICT company could easily apply to collaborate with industrial company. In the welfare sector, I think it's a perfect match for ICT and health sector again. What makes applicant perfect? I think the application, of course, has to be very well done, yes. Finances have to be there. Knowledge about the market has to be there. Also, very good communication skills, because we will be going back and forth in the application process in evaluation. Have a very good team. All the wide competencies needed. It's both, is it ICT, technology, but also the end user view. It doesn't matter how big the company is. It can be a large company, it can be a small company, but I think the inner procedures of doing business must be there. This is, I think, the most important.
I think that it's very important this company who would apply for this funding from Norwegian grants, they must have a plan. They must have a clear plan what they want to achieve. So if they receive the grant, they must have a very clear goals there. And if they have this wide partnership, that's a bonus also.
Yeah, again, to sum up, I think it will be an innovative company with necessary financial capacity and the human resources to implement the project, and with a sound and realistic business plan.
Yeah.
That would be the key elements.
Which doesn't actually mean that when we speak about product development, then we absolutely always have to consider a bit of flexibility into the project. We have several cases already now that there are a couple of projects being implemented, and they have tested the ways to make new products, for example. And first testing shows that it's not business-wise to continue with something. So we also provide flexibility in this. So, and I think the flexibility comes from both sides. So it doesn't make sense doing business if it's not wise for the company either. So Enterprise Estonia, also Innovation Norway, and the ministry provides the necessary flexibility in these projects, because innovation is always a question. Succeed or not to succeed. So it's yeah.
Absolutely. When the companies want to apply, it's very important for them to find the partner from Norway as well for the program. Companies that are struggling to find a partner, what kind of suggestions do you have for them? What should they do to find this partner? Do you support this in any way, or this is really a job for them?
I know it's a challenge, especially in the COVID crisis time, and it's a challenge anyway to have meetings. Magnar, maybe you can point out some tips to, how to involve Norwegian companies or how to attract them.
Yeah, it's also sometimes a question of capacity, because similar business programs are implemented in other countries. So we have a lot of potential project promoters that are looking for partners, and then they sometimes will be looking for the same partners. So then it could be a little bit difficult. But of course, one key thing is to participate in matchmakings like the one we will have later today. That is a very good tool and platform for finding partners.
Although we've had some cases where Norwegian companies actually turn to Enterprise Estonia with a hope to find partners from Estonia. So we have several examples already. I think Norwegian companies are also active when it comes to new innovative technologies. But I know that currently finding new partners without any previous contacts has been a struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why it is.
Yeah, plus it's not mandatory to have a partner. It's a bonus, but it's not a mandatory thing. So you can have a partner from Estonia or Norway, or you can apply alone, excluded the welfare technology, where you do need a end user representative in the project, but that can be Estonian if you don't succeed in finding partners from Norway. But still, yeah, it's not mandatory.
It's good that we clarified that it's also totally fine to get partners from Estonia if you don't get it from Norway.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Daniel, the same question to you. Now talking about in general finding the partners, what do you see as some of the best practices to find yourself a good business partner?
I can bring one example, because it's all about networking here. I know that when there have been study tours to Norway for finding Norwegian partners, then in Estonian delegation, some companies have communicated each other. They maybe didn't know each other before that, and they start communicating, and they find that they can do business with each other or cooperate together or some other Estonian companies know some other Norwegians who doesn't maybe fit to them for a partnership, but they fit for another company. So it's all about networking.
And we also have some tools that I would like to mention. For instance, in Innovation Norway, we have what's called the Explorer. That is a showroom for green Norwegian solutions. It's a digital showroom, and there you can find a lot of Norwegian companies that are willing, able, and ready to take part in international projects. So that is one tool that we try to promote as much as possible. And of course, we also have other ways to do it. We are working with the clusters because they have a good overview of relevant companies, because we usually hesitate to go directly to one specific company, because that's kind of not our role, but we will then try then to use clusters to find a relevant partner for a project promoter.
And when we talk about welfare technology and e-health, do they have any specific routes similar to the green, as you just mentioned, that they could answer to the Norwegian market and find partners?
Well, not the Explorer, because that's basically the green solutions, but we have some relevant clusters within welfare technology, and it's always possible to use them as a kind of facilitator for partnerships.
Okay. Anari, I'd actually like to know about how the program has progressed here in Estonia. How's it gone so far?
It has been going very well. We are currently in the middle of the last call. So we have been successful in implementing 2 main calls already. I think it's a bit more than 70 supported projects so far. And a lot of bilateral events behind us already, study tours, meetings in Oslo, both in Tallinn. But about the grant, I think we are progressing quite well. If we speak about the supported projects so far, so I know that 2 of the first call projects have now been ended already, but the others are ongoing. And especially for those companies who haven't been able to apply before, but still wish to do that, I think it's the last time, because yeah, it's a good side and a bad side at the same time. But we have been exhausting our funds almost, so it's yes, it's the last call.
Yes, please, Magnar.
Yeah, I will then take this opportunity to give some credit both to Enterprise Estonia and to the ministry. So the program is really on track. So I'm sure it will be implemented in a good way, and all the projects, or at least most of the projects, will be implemented in a good way. And I would also like to say that the cooperation between Enterprise Estonia, the ministry, and Innovation Norway as the donor program partner has been really excellent. So we are really happy with the development in the program in Estonia.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Magnar. I agree. It has been an excellent collaboration.
Totally agree.
I love to hear about success stories about different companies and how's it gone for them. So I'd like to wrap this discussion up with some different success stories. Welfare technologies, health tech companies. Please, could you share us some success stories of companies in the program? I think we discussed this even before when we started. We talked about a few interesting companies. So please, feel free to share those stories or some other stories that you remember now. Please, Anari.
Yeah, thank you. What I remind from the first call we had, I think regarding the welfare technology, there are very strong players already in the Estonian market who got supported under the program. I would like to mention CureTech. The program was targeted to collection and analyze of medical data. This was a very good example. I think it's a very strong company. Also IPDX, I think we will see a short video during the break. And a Competence Center for Health Technologies. They are actually developing Niptify Plus, it's called. It's a prenatal testing system for pregnant women. So it's basically a development and a current need in the market already. So I think I see a high potential. I also see a very high potential from the second call projects. For example, Migrevention, who will be talking later today, and antigenes. Yes, the breast cancer prevention project. So it's I'm very eager to find out what these projects will achieve. But maybe Magnar, you can share the ICT experience from the last call, last period.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, because the projects now under implementation. Of course, we will see most of the results next year and after, because they have not completed the projects. But just to mention one example from the previous program period, we had an Estonian and Norwegian company joining forces to develop a sensor for a real-time detection of oil spill. It was a successful development of a sensor, and then they again joined forces and established a joint venture for the production of this sensor, and it's now on the market, and it's even used, for instance, on the Norwegian coastliner. So that's a good example, a project cooperation that ended up in a long-lasting cooperation between Estonian and Norwegian companies.
Wow, that's amazing. Do you have any other? Yes, please, Tanel.
No, I just wanted to add that this kind of cooperation is what we are aiming to, that when the project continues beyond its end deadline, so we continue our work and are successful and create our products even further.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all the input. Do you have any last words you'd like to say to the audience about the program or anything else?
I think we just want to wish them the best of luck during the matchmaking, and hopefully we will see some interesting cooperation projects that will be a result of the matchmaking today. That would be great.
Yeah, exactly. The same from me. Looking forward for the new ideas and projects for the ongoing round.
Okay. Yeah, just want to repeat that all the company or business leaders just talk to each other and make cooperation. So that's how it works.
Thank you again. Okay, and now we are moving on to our first presenter. Our first presenter for today is the Director of Department of Health Technologies of Tallinn University of Technology. She has a PhD in biomedical technology, where she has held various roles from student to senior researcher. She has gained experience by working with world-class doctors from Sweden and Germany, and today she will introduce us to the opportunities at the TalTech Department of Health Technology and Medicine Center and to the projects they have done. Please welcome to the stage Jaana Holmar.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me well? Okay. Yes, I'm Jaana Holmar from Department of Health Technologies, and I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to introduce my institute in TalTech. I hope that I can also see my slides somewhere, because otherwise I don't see what I'm showing. Aha, here they are. Okay, I will go back. Today I will give overview about the department and our activities, and then hopefully we will have some ideas how to move on, how to create new cooperations, new projects, and of course the focus today is on Green ICT projects. But first of all, about our institute. The institute is not a very large one. It belongs to the School of Information Technologies, and it combines biomedical engineering and digital health or e-health competencies. We have also 2 master curricula, and we have a lot of PhDs and also industrial PhDs. In biomedical engineering and digital health, we perform innovative research and development activities. The mission of our institute is to combine technical and medical research for the benefit of human health. And the main field of activity is health. So it's a very large activity area. So here is the structure of our institute. Our small institute in TalTech is like link between medical technology industry, between hospitals, and between public sector. We have to say that currently we don't have large industry producing biomedical engineering equipment or devices in Estonia, but this picture is about to change. We have a lot of cooperation with bigger hospitals in northern Estonia, but also we are moving to eastern Estonia and also want to increase cooperation with southern Estonia and Tartu University Hospital. In our institute or department, there are 4 labs or centers. We have Center for Biomedical Engineering, Biosignal Processing Lab, Center for Cardiovascular Medicine, and EMED Lab. And as I already mentioned, we have 2 master curriculum. One is Medical Technology and Physics. This is Estonian curriculum given in Estonian language, but also if we have some guest students, then we can also give our subject in English. And then we have a master curriculum Digital Health, which is purely in English and international curriculum. And now I will give a short overview about the work groups, so you will have all the keywords in mind. First of all, Center for Biomedical Engineering. In here, all the keywords are listed. This center is headed by Professor Ivo Fridolin. And the keywords are sensors, different algorithms, sensor fusion, biofluid optics, uremic toxins, dialysis, online monitoring, spectrophotometry, also smart workwear, physical activity monitoring, energy consumption, and also fatigue monitoring, and different automatic speech recognition systems. The further we are with optical monitoring of dialysis. So when person's kidneys doesn't function anymore very good, he or she needs dialysis treatment. And dialysis treatment is very time consuming. Every patient goes 3 times per week, 4 hours every time. And this machine with filter purifies the patient's blood. And the quality of this procedure is usually estimated by blood sampling. Doctor is taking after months or several months 1 blood sample, gets the results on next day, and then decides if the procedure is good enough or not, or he needs to change something in the therapy. Our suggestion is optical monitoring system, and it's non-invasive and doesn't need blood samples. It doesn't need any reagents. So we are monitoring dialysis liquid, the liquid to where the toxins are moving from the patient's blood. So it usually goes to drainage, but we are performing some optical test for this liquid. It means we are measuring absorbance, we are measuring fluorescence, and then we have created algorithms for calculating how efficient this kind of this concrete procedure was. With this device. We have also reached to prototype stage, and we have tested it in Estonian and also in European hospitals, and it's very good working. And it's possible to monitor how well every dialysis procedure is given, how many small molecules, middle molecules, and protein-bound molecules are removed during every procedure. And moreover, since we are having the signal, what we know, if something goes wrong with the procedure, then we know immediately because our signal changes. And we have had some cases where the needle has moved or dropped away, and we are seeing it immediately from our signal, and we can say that something is wrong with this procedure. So it's increasing patient safety also. The next topic, what we have been active in, what this group has been active is creating algorithms for smartwatches. So our created algorithms are implemented in one smartwatch produced by Bosch. So this competence is also in our institute. Then speech recognition systems, it was a very practical project. Started with the problems of a radiologist who has to see the radiographic pictures, describe what they see. They use dictaphone for that. And later, to record, they had to type it over. But we created the automatic speech recognition system, and it's used in hospitals in North and also in South Estonia. What we didn't see if we created this speech recognition system, that the same thing can use also when we create the smart workwear. This smart workwear was a very practical project for workers and supervisors who are working in high-risk work environments. This suit is functional. It enables to detect falls, to detect position of the person, also how active this person is. Is he moving a lot or not? Is he passive? So the rescue team can already know who are they rescuing. And speech to text notes. So if one is working in fish growing or in fuel platform, it's very tricky to take notes, but the speech recognition system helps also in there. And it was tested in very amusing way in several occasions. The next group in our institute is Biosignal Processing Laboratory. This is headed by Professor Maija Bachmann. And keywords in here are signal processing, electroencephalography, mental disorders, depression, sleep, and also environmental stressors. So EEG signal is brain electrical activity signal. It is also measured non-invasively with a hat. And above here, you can see the signals from EEG machine. It looks like nothing, but believe or not, from these signals, our team is able to detect several things about the subject. And one very interesting discovery was spectral asymmetry index. Our group of scientists discovered that if they analyze one spectral area before maximum and one spectral area after maximum, and they find the ratio between those areas, then in depressive subject, this ratio tends to be positive, and in non-depressive or control subject, this ratio tends to be negative. It was very interesting and intriguing discovery, of course, and it was tested in several groups, and the results remained. Our group also did one prototype, which is also shown in this slide. It uses only 3 electrodes, not a complete hat. And it's possible to measure and calculate the spectral asymmetry index very quickly. And it could be a very useful tool for psychologists to diagnose depression. And it helps to discover early signs of depression or mental disorders quite early. And I would even say that objectively. So questionnaires are nice, but sometimes maybe this kind of objective support could be also helpful in diagnosis. Then let's move on. Our third group in our institute deals with the vascular system of human being. This is Center for Cardiovascular Medicine, and this is headed by Professor Margus Viigimaa. Keywords are given in here. It's hypertension, atherosclerosis, diabetes, cardiovascular risk, also hypercholesterolemia, different technologies, diagnosis, and also treatment. This group is using pulse wave velocity. It's also non-invasive technology for measuring how quickly blood is moving in our vessels. And our technical team has created algorithms to calculate how good the status of the vascular system of this subject is. And we have tested those systems a lot in North Estonian Regional Hospital, and a very good group for testing and as a subjects are also our dialysis patients, because they are laying this, they have a lot of problems with vascular systems actually. And the method is also non-invasive and doesn't involve any anything what is uncomfortable. Now I move on to the fourth group, which is e-medicine center or e-med lab. This is headed by Professor Peeter Ross. And this group performs research in the areas of clinical decision support, evaluation of digital health technologies, online health data, related behavior, different components and determinants of digitalization of healthcare. They are developing IT technology solutions related to the digitalization of healthcare, and also IT solutions related to personal medicine. As I mentioned before, this center is coordinating digital health master program and also PhD studies. They had also very good mission, what is ongoing, to teach digital literacy skills in healthcare for our family doctors and family nurses. They are implementing different project and custom orders and making a lot of presentation and participating in international research projects. And one of these projects is actually Norra Health, which is supported by Green ICT call. And it was supported in last call, and it has going on almost 1 year. This project is called Norra Health. So it's a short version of Nordic Health for Patients, benchmarking and developing for future. A little bit of, from the background. and motivations for this project. All over the world, healthcare systems are currently facing increased demands for improving patient health outcomes. On the other hand, there are a lot of healthcare cuts in funds and also increasing healthcare costs. And this leads automatically to the need making healthcare systems more efficacy and more efficient. It has shown that e-health intervention are very good solution to some problems. They have great potential to improve efficacy and efficiency of healthcare provision and strengthen opportunities for patient self-care, self-management, and participation. Also, why Nordic country, why we? Because Nordic countries are recognized as being at the forefront of e-health development and in using those systems. My clicker doesn't work, or I don't see it. Aha, okay. Yeah, thank you. So the project aim is to give patients online access to their electronic health records and increase self-management and transparency in healthcare. So the goal is involve patients to the system and give them opportunities, but also responsibility, and give them possibility to see what records they have and also improve this system. The goal is to enable further digitalization of the public health sector by providing concrete feedback to the national authorities and provide guidelines and frameworks for design, implementation, and evaluation of personal e-health services. So it's pretty ambitious, but very logical thing to improve in our countries and in e-health systems. The study goals in details are to study the current implementation and adoption of personal e-health system in Nordic countries, to create new knowledge and in-depth understanding of challenges and opportunities. Thereafter, develop evidence-based evaluation frameworks and guidelines to help researchers. And then explore factors around co-design of personal e-health systems through innovation project, focusing on patient-generated data and tools for patient co-creation of the medical record, as well as providing best practice guidelines. As I said, the project is one three-year project. It began at the beginning of this year and it lasts 2 more years. There are 7 universities from Nordic countries involved. One of them is TalTech, and also Norwegian Center for e-health research and Open Notes from US are involved in this project. Here are work packages of the project given in detail, so you can have overview what is actually done during this project. Management and coordination is all over. Then national socio-technical content and policies to get know them. Then benchmarking, Nordic e-health services and adoption. In work package 3, patients are assessing to their health notes, and they are giving their thoughts and co-designing and co-creating personal e-health systems. And of course, the work package 5, information security and privacy perspectives are one of the very important work packages in this project. In work package 6, performed in Estonia, TalTech, the following research activities are planned. So first of all, we want to adapt the relevant standardized data models for patient self-reporting. Then we want to find proper evaluation and approval mechanism for data entered by the patient. And then prototype development through user-centered designs, including close cooperation with patients and other relevant stakeholders. So in short, this project aims to take digital services, add innovation, and end up with patient portals which are more useful and not only for patients but also for healthcare workers. This is actually all what I wanted to show you about our institute and the project, what is going on in here. This is only one project. We have also projects which are connected with so-called biomedical engineering activities. Here are my contacts, so if you have some ideas or questions, then do not hesitate to email me. And if you have more in-depth questions about this Norra Health project, then please contact Barbara Hage, who is this project manager. So thank you.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you so much for the presentation. And just a quick reminder for our dear audience, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the chat and I'll present them to our presenters. But Jana, first question actually comes from me. And please tell me more about some additional programs that you run in the Institute of Health Technologies.
Yes, we are. There are many national projects, especially in e-health, e-med center. They are to support patient support system, patient feedback systems, and what I already shortly mentioned is digital literacy of our family doctors and family nurses. So all persons and parties who are involved in these e-health systems would be on the same level and on the same page if it comes to the terms what we are using. This is from the e-health side. From the biomedical engineering side, we have some project ongoing in depression studies. And then we want to implement more sleep studies in our department. Then, of course, we are developing further this optical tool for dialysis monitor, and our hope is to end up in the situation one day when this monitor is part of every dialysis machine what is produced in the world. And of course, I cannot let without mentioning that this vascular system monitoring and activity and fatigue monitoring is also very actively ongoing.
Thank you for that. And you mentioned the workshops. Could you please tell me more about them? What kind of workshops do you offer? And how can people participate in the workshops?
Yeah, right now from the e-med center, there are workshops for family doctors and also for family nurses about digital or e-health terms and some practical information and knowledge what we can share. These are workshops, and how to participate. I think you have to contact with the head of EMET's lab, Professor Peter Ross, and he can guide you further to the specific project leaders. And yeah, this is the first what is up to my mind. And of course, we are also doing the radiation safety workshops for our radiation workers all over Estonia. This is also one wider activity. But to be honest, we don't perform too many workshops from the biomedical engineering side.
Diana, I have one last question for you, and actually from the audience, they would like to know how can they become a research partner for your institute?
Just write me an email. Let's have a Teams meeting, and then I can involve specific scientists from the group what is in interest, and then we can discuss further how we move on. If we will write some joint project application, or we already have some practical research what we can perform. So it depends, but email me and then we will find further steps.
Absolutely. So email Jana and you will get all the information. Thank you again, Jana.
Thank you, and have a nice information day.
Thank you. And you have a nice day as well.
Thanks.
Our next speaker is the CEO and co-founder of Migrevention, which is the first fully digital health clinic in the world. She is also a board member of Estonian Biochemical Society and research assistant in Tallinn University of Technology. Today, she'll tell you about Migrevention and their experience in the Green ICT program. Please welcome to the stage, Katrina Laks.
Hello, everybody. It's really nice to be here with you. I cannot see my slides yet. I hope you can. If somebody can, yes, you can see my slides. So I'm Katrina Laks from Migrevention, CEO and co-founder of the first fully digital headache clinic in the world. And we are building the fully digital headache clinic for 1 billion migraine patients in the world. Only 6 years ago, I thought that only I had migraine. And it was kind of a brightening moment, if we can say so, when I understood that migraine is kind of a pandemic disease. And the problem lies in the treatment. I think my clicker doesn't work properly. Now it did. The problem lies in the access to evidence-based headache treatment. And what does the evidence-based headache treatment really mean? It means that patients get access to treatment and use right medication in right doses. They have access to neurologist and headache nurse, physiotherapy and psychotherapy. But unfortunately, all over the world, only 1% to 4% of headache patients reach evidence-based treatment today. And that's the problem Migrevention started solving 1.5 years ago. A little about interdisciplinary treatment. It's a treatment which includes a common goal for the whole treatment team of the patient and it lies the patient in the center of the whole treatment team. In our case, the treatment team for headache and most primary headaches, and it includes migraine, consists of neurologist, headache nurse, physiotherapist, and clinical psychologist. We are using technology-based interventions in our solution, and in past scientific research, they have shown being effective as treatment for many chronic diseases, including migraine, for chronic pain, depression, and for various anxiety disorders. In many migraine patients, depression and anxiety disorders are a secondary problem coming up with migraine pain. Behavioral interventions in the treatment of migraine, including relaxation techniques, biofeedback, cognitive behavioral therapy, are seen as level A evidence-based therapies, and they require active patient participation and use of self-help technique. It means the change of patient's behavior. The thing when we change patient's behavior means that the tool that we change it with comes a digital medical device. From all that knowledge that we gathered before starting Migrevention, we got the idea to build an evidence-based digital headache clinic, which consists of patient mobile application and specialist headache toolbox, where a headache specialist can address, change, and remotely monitor patient's treatment throughout the patient's treatment pathway, however long the treatment pathway is. The evidence-based solutions and the solution that we have built until now should be developed in conjunction with healthcare professionals and end users. In our case, we have used different headache specialists and groups of patients and asked questions, made study groups, and asked feedback throughout the development cycle, and it's an ongoing process to develop the solution according to both sides' needs. The solution has to meet the market and society's current needs, as on the market at the moment this kind of solution is lacking, and migraine is a global pandemic problem. We see a great need for our solution. The solution has to be based on laws, practical recommendations, and treatment guidelines. It has to be accessible and secure, and it has to be developed responsibly. If health data is included in the development cycle, the security and privacy has to be taken into account really very seriously. And as we have had the opportunity to use Tallinn University of Technology's health application health application, how to say it, a cycle where you can let people use your application and go through it and say that it's okay for patients to use it securely and the privacy is backed up. The solution takes into account the possibilities to process large amounts of data and the Internet of Things. And these all points are the backbones of evidence-based solutions that we also take into account. We have developed our solutions since 15th of June 2020. And as Oliver said before, we are now developing as a Green ICT project, but we did our MVP, minimum viable project, backed up by Connected Health Cluster. 2 projects, Migrevention virtual headache clinic in summer, autumn 2020, and in the beginning of 21, the digital remote treatment platform. In the first project, we made a really rough digital headache clinic prototype and tested it in a clinical setting also. I will show you the results a little later. And the second stage was the further development of the platform and already coming to market with part of the platform digital headache diary. And I will elaborate that project also a little later. At the moment, we are really happy to develop Migrevention in a co-development project with our development company, TalTech in the project of development of Migrevention digital headache clinic, which started in the beginning of June, has run off really fast, and we have really nice results already. You can read more information about the project from project homepage migrevention.com/greenict, and I will take you now further to the both projects' results and where we are now. A little about the goals that we have in the Green ICT before elaborating the projects. We have the goal to increase the availability of the multimodal migraine treatment in Estonia, in Norway, also in UK and Poland and maybe Latvia, and we are doing that by establishing it by sub-objectives, which you can read on the slide, by developing the full solution, the patient mobile application, and the specialist desktop side. We are also conducting a clinical study comparing the standardized treatment that is done in the clinic with the digital treatment that can be done through our Migrevention solution, and we have the permission from ethics committee of the University of Tartu already from early 2020 for that. And now to the results that we have already gained throughout different projects backed up by Connected Health Cluster before and now Green ICT. With the rough MVP we built during the first Connected Health Cluster project, we helped some people through conventional treatment in hospital and some through digital treatment through Migrevention MVP digital headache clinic solution. And even through that solution, we got the knowledge and clinically validated it that we can help more than 10 times patients through Migrevention. And that's something great. And we will not give back with the quality of the treatment. And something really good comes with digital treatment, that the treatment changes can be made very much faster on the digital treatment side than with the conventional treatment side. And the patient's data is always with the patient and doesn't go running around in paper diaries. In the second project, we came to the market with the Migrevention application, which includes a simple digital headache diary, which you all can download from Apple Store and from Google Play. And at the moment, it's the most popular headache diary in Estonia. We haven't marketed it yet very much, but it has loyal and pleased users. They like the features and the simplicity of use of the application. Their data is safe. They can share the data with their doctor by diary download and headache report sent to primary care specialist or a neurologist. In the end of July, we came to market with Migrevention premium version, which added to the solution a subscription-based headache nurse support function. And that's something that offers the fastest track to a headache specialist in Estonia at the moment. And with that function, we found product market fit in Estonia with our solution, and now we're starting scaling to other countries. And from the project goals also, with the digital headache clinic, I briefly mentioned digital medical device regulations, and our full solution is at the moment in clinical trials. We just started it in the beginning of December in co-working project with Tartu University Hospital. And the full solution will be available after MDR certification, hopefully in the beginning, in the middle of 2023. And it will be monetized as a B2B SaaS solution. A little about our track. As we have our test group of users at the moment. We are definitely going to grow next year in Estonia and abroad. We are certifying the application and validating clinically the digital headache clinic. First on 300 patients and in total on 600 patients. And piloting in UK and Poland first, and then in Norway and Latvia and other European countries. We are going on the track of MDR class 2A or B certification and for the full digital headache clinic. Migrevention team consists of different headache specialists, and we definitely know how migraine is understood and managed. I personally feel that we couldn't have done it in any time before, and without the synergy of specialists and patients in the team. We have Estonia's top headache specialist, Dr. Mark Brashinsky, Estonia's only clinical pain psychologist, Triinu Niiberg-Piksööt, and our development is led by a migraine patient. Our CTO, Karl Käis, is knowing pain by himself, as do I, being a migraine patient advocate for more than 7 years already. Migrevention has been backed up by the whole Estonian health tech ecosystem, from Tallinn to Tartu, from Tartu University Hospital to Connected Health Cluster and Technopol in Tallinn, and different accelerators have boosted our growth during past year. But we really feel that our connection to Estonian Migraine and Headache Patients Association and European Migraine and Headache Alliance, the connection to patients is something that we value most. And that's something that we keep close to our hearts, and they help us develop further, faster. I'm not here today for one-on-one meetings, but I'm really happy to meet you all via LinkedIn, make follow-up calls, and if you have any questions, I see that we have a lot of time to talk now, and feel free to contact me on the contacts here on the slide also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katrina. And absolutely, everyone, please contact Katrina through her email. And if you have questions, again, write them down here and I'll point them towards Katrina. But a question from me, as you're also a fellow Green ICT program applicant, what suggestions would you make to other people, companies, looking and thinking about applying for the program? What tips or tricks would you give them to have a successful application?
If you have a really big problem, then go for finding the solution. And I think Green ICT is a great mechanism to help with the financial support. For us, I think we found great support from our development partner from Tartu University Hospital when writing the application, and we set clear KPIs, clear goals for the project that we want to do, and that we definitely are going to do. And at the moment, we are on track with project KPIs. So make real goals, and I think that's the main suggestion I can make.
Mm-hmm. So have a real problem, have a good solution, and definitely look at your KPIs for the program.
Yes, okay. And if you have piloted something already, I think that also supports the application. If you have some data to support the application.
Mm-hmm. Please now tell us a bit about the near future plans about Migrevention. What plans do you have for your team and the company?
So at the moment we are, as a team and as a company, we are growing at the moment. It was also our KPI in Green ICT project. We recently hired our first employee, a quality manager. She's helping us with all the regulatory and quality management data that is needed for the MDR track, which is the most relevant thing for developing a digital therapeutic. And we are growing also now on marketing side, at first in Estonia and then in Europe.
Mm-hmm. And a last question to you, because when startups or companies apply to different funding programs, they all want to understand, okay, I get all of this money, but actually for what can I use it for? You mentioned growing the team and KPIs. Could you tell us, from the perspective of a company, what can I use this money for?
From the perspective of company, you cannot use it for marketing. Definitely, that's something that we don't use it for. Our marketing budget comes from elsewhere. But you can use it for quality management track if you have noted that in the project also, and you have got the money for that. You can use it for product development. We use it in cooperation with our project partner for product development. Mm-hmm. And I think that these are the two main things that we are using the Green ICT project budget for.
Thank you for the practical overview on that. And again, huge thanks, Katrina, for doing the presentation.
Thank you, Oliver.
We've reached the halfway point for today's event, so it's time to go on a short break. Grab a pint, pour yourself a coffee, but please don't go too far because we'll be back soon with many interesting topics. For example, we'll talk about the Welfare Technology Small Grant Scheme. We'll get an overview about welfare technology in Estonia. We'll also learn some insights and trends and opportunities on the Norwegian health tech sector. And last but not least, we'll listen to some company pitches. Now, don't forget to book the one-on-one meetings that we talked about at the beginning of the event. It's a really good opportunity to network with like-minded people in the field. So definitely do that. Otherwise, see you all back here soon.